So I guess it can't sound any other way than sound as if this is a finding that if someone is willing to set up a meeting, invite people, and talk about this, then they must have found something. No. This isn't a finding. The only finding, you could say, is that there's nothing to find. Of course, that's not a finding. You don't even get to find that there's nothing to find, because of course you can't find nothing. So all the speakers I ever enjoyed listening to myself all emphasized that there was nothing, always. The ones that I really resonated with. And maybe you're the same, otherwise you probably wouldn't come to this. And what they really emphasized was there was nothing on offer. Literally. The offering, the gift, the present is nothing. Which is everything. And so it's not, so it isn't something. Now, when we speak of nothing, if I speak of emptiness, which I do, and I speak of nothing, which I seem to quite a lot, they can only sound like something. And I can only apologize for that, because they aren't something. This isn't something. This is everything and nothing equally, and everything, all the things, all thingness is empty. And outrageously, paradoxically, the emptiness makes the thingness no less. The fullness of things, the beingness, is more apparent in its emptiness. I mean, what nonsense. What wonderful, worthless, pointless nonsense. But that's what this is. This is wonderfully meaningless, pointless, hopeless. Every negative, everything that you don't want. But of course, regardless of whether you want this or not, this is all there is. The unconditional love is that this doesn't recognize your desire for this to be a certain way. This doesn't know you. No one knows you. Nothing knows you. There is no one to be known. The whole illusion is of knowing. And I don't know how or why, but I simply don't doubt that no one knows what's going on at all. knowing what's going on is just the illusion that I lives in, that self lives in. That I do know who I am. I do know where I am. I know my location. I know my place when there is no location. And this is the only place. And if this is the only place, then there is no place. And so this annihilates all ideas, all fantasies of awakening and liberation and enlightenment and anything else you might have fantasized that you could become, that could happen. There isn't anything that could happen. There is only what's happening. Nothing will happen. Nothing has happened. And even saying there's only what's happening is saying far too much, because it sounds as though you might be able to find what's happening. No. There is no you and what's happening. There is no you to find what's happening. There's no one separate from what's happening to find it. What you've called you is what's happening. So the revelation is that there's no revelation at all. Nothing is revealed. The realization is that nothing is realized. I can't pretend it was what I was looking for. Definitely not. But then this can never be what you're looking for, because what you're looking for has to be something else. Otherwise you wouldn't be looking for it, would you? You can't be looking for this. It'll already be found. Ordinary beyond ordinary. Outrageously. Outrageously. Outrageously known without any knowing. Outrageously ordinary, mundane. So obvious. It's no wonder that I spent years saying, well, this can't be it. Every time I heard a speaker say, this is it, of course, I just said, well, it might be for you, but it certainly isn't for me. Well, that is it. But of course, feeling that this isn't it is equally it. But there is no it. I don't like to say anything about it really. And yet I can speak all day, waffling on aimlessly, pointlessly, pointing in all directions. If you still are under the illusion that you could hear a pointer and it would point you straight to this, again, there's nothing more illusory than that. There is no pointing towards or away from this. You could point in all directions or no direction, and you still wouldn't be pointing at this. And so it's still popular to identify exactly what this is and name it. And you could say that's what I do, because I say the word this, as though that's naming what we're speaking of, everything and nothing. But there is no this. There's only this. And you can say, I could say very honestly that it's nothing special. But of course, it's outrageously, extraordinarily special, in that how much special and more special could there be than everything? It's not, I mean, it's the death of specialness, because specialness is there are some things that are higher or lower than other things, but there aren't actually any things. And so this absolute equality again is very ordinary to an extraordinary extent, the ordinariness. And the illusion is that this has been before, that there is a before. There's no before. This is always the first. Absolutely. This has never been before. And this is always the last, the end. This is the completion. This is done. This is the end. Never to be repeated. Never again. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. If you'd like to ask anything or you want to share anything, then by all means, put your hand up or write a question in the chat.
I was thinking what you were saying about you can't point at this. I was thinking you can't point at this because the pointing is this.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever this is.
Well, you could say there's only, yeah. Yeah, the pointing's pointless. You can't point towards or away from, no. That's why, you know, that would, if yeah, all the pointing is there'd just be some some string of words that resonate and you like the sound of, and they'll go, oh, they're close to the truth. They're not.
Nearly got it.
You know, don't you think isn't it the most wonderful news that no one's ever got this? Don't you love that? That's what I love most. I don't doubt that there's no one. I mean, I don't care who your spiritual heroes or your philosophical heroes or I don't care who they are. I don't doubt at all that they knew no more than you or me or any other idiot. Because this is laughing in the face of intelligence and understanding and knowledge. It's a mockery. And I guess, and it's not for everyone. Most people don't like mockery. Most selves just want to know. Not knowing is not very attractive to many human beings, because knowledge is power, and what I want is power and security. Less knowledge, less power, less security, not attractive. So I think the only ones, you lot, who seem attracted to this, have a perverse attraction to not knowing. Somehow there's a intuitive sense that not knowing is a lot better than knowing, which no doubt it is, because of course knowledge is either right and wrong. Not knowing is never right or wrong. It's hugely more liberating not knowing. That's the liberation. Freedom from knowing, as Jiddu Krishnamurti often was heard to say. And then knowledge is also, in not knowing, knowledge is liberated to be what it is, relatively interesting, relatively worthwhile, relatively. Of the absolute, knowledge is worthless. Natalie.
Hi.
Lovely to see you.
You too. I don't know. Normally I'm so happy and laughing. I don't know what's going on today, but I don't know. That recognition of the emptiness, it's like it didn't take anything away, but it took everything away.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's nothing left of me, but yet, still this.
Yeah.
And so it just loses momentum.
Yeah.
Sometimes, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get people saying stuff like, get it together, you're losing it. And I'm like, well, what am I losing?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just empty. But yeah, you go ahead and say something about that.
No. Well, no, thanks for sharing that, because yeah, you I mean, people are not wrong. If they look at you and they have a sense of you're losing it, well, maybe they are picking up on that. I mean, that's maybe not what they mean, but
maybe. Right.
But I mean, I'd be very surprised if even if self becomes less solid and less insistent and less concrete, even if there's you could say a thinning or a lessening of the energy of me, then there's almost certain to be less motivation, because most motivation is to keep me going, to keep me together. So, I mean, I'd be surprised if most people don't. If there's less of the sense of me, then there'll be less effort to keep it all together.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that can feel threatening to what there is of me, and what there is left of me can feel very threatened by that. And all the other me's who know you, they'll go, well, you're not who I thought you were, or, you know, you're not behaving how you've changed.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I remember that well. This can be very disconcerting for those around you.
Right. Yeah. And if it's not available, then it's not available. You know what I mean? Like, that motivation sometimes seems you can't muster it.
You can't summon it up. No.
I know.
No. I mean, that's the whole illusion of self, is that I'm in control of motivation. I mean, self knows it's not.
Yeah.
Actually. Self pretty much knows it's not. But
right.
But if that energy of self isn't available, then no, you can't. I'll never forget when I stopped work, when I stopped teaching, and of course my wife made me go to the doctors, because of course I'm not well, and the doctor says, well, why are you not, what's stopping you going into work? I said I can't go.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, what do you mean you can't go? I went, no, I can't go. And she said, do you mean you're afraid? I went, no. Do you mean there's too much anxiety? No, I don't mean that. I mean I can't go.
Right. Yeah. Similar conversation the other day.
Yeah, I meant it. And do you know,
I know.
It was so concrete that, so I did go. After going to the doctor, I went. I got to the school gate. I couldn't drive my car through the gate. It's like my car wouldn't go through the gate. I turned in the gate and went home, and that was my last attempt. I don't know. I'm not making any big deal of that. I'm just saying. It can just be that. No, I can't. That can't happen.
It's right.
It's not happening.
You can't do what you can't do. It's just not happening.
It's not happening. No.
Thank you, Tim.
I know. Yeah, and you can't do what you can't do, Nathan.
I know. No. It's impossible.
Yeah. And so the whole illusion and self, I mean, when that happens for self, that can feel so dreadfully threatening, you know, because I've lost all control. I've lost all ability to even do the most basic things. I mean, so fucking what is the answer, really? I mean, everyone else won't agree with you, but that's the truth.
That's what I love.
It's just that others. Say that. That's all. I mean, I will say, even 7 years on from that day, or 8 years, whatever it is, I can't remember, something like that. Even now, I mean, people look at me odd that I'm not getting up every morning at 7 a.m. and getting ready and going to work. Why am I not doing that? Weirdo.
I can't. Weirdo. Yeah. That's why I like this meeting. There's a bunch of weirdos here.
Oh, isn't it? This is the final resting place. This is the, you know, this is like the end of the road for weirdos and losers.
Definitely.
I like to think of you all as losers. As
Oh,
well.
definitely. Yes. We're the biggest losers.
Yeah. And if you don't think of yourself as a loser, yeah, then of course you've not lost enough. I'm joking, but
Exactly.
no, I'm joking, and yet there's a hint of a truth in there somewhere. No, because we are talking about, of course, if everyone's a loser, the truth is we're the ones who might be aware of we're in the losers party, whereas everyone else is still striving to be a winner. That's it.
Yeah.
But there aren't any winners, are there? I mean, isn't it? How obvious does it have to be that nobody wins at life? Nobody wins. You're not getting out of here alive. This is terminal.
I love that saying.
This is terminal. This being
And we
alive.
laugh.
I love it. I love it when people say, "Oh, have you heard? Have you heard so and so?" No, I haven't. What? They're dying. I went, and who the fuck's not dying? I love it. Just because a doctor has given you a diagnosis, suddenly you're dying, whereas before, moments before, you weren't. You were living, but then you're dying.
You were living.
Yeah, you were living until someone told you you were dying, and then you're dying.
Yeah.
Funny, really.